the Colts and the Cardinals. Let's start with the Colts. 13 candidates were interviewed.
I got no clue.
7 have been back for a second interview.
No clue.
Rich Bisaccia, Jeff Saturday, Shane Steichen, Ejiro Evero, Raheem Morris, Dan Quinn, Brian Callen. I assume at some point Eric Bieniemy's coming back. This is the week where you can interview him a second time if you interviewed him previously, because obviously his team's still alive. I think Bieniemy's in this mix as well, so there's 8 altogether.
I think so too, right.
Chris, I don't want to be overly simplistic about this, but I can't help but envision at some point in the next week or two, there will be a video of Jim Irsay either on his plane or standing outside his plane while the engine is running and it's hard to hear what he's saying that I interviewed 13 different people and we had an extensive list of second interviews and a very careful process, and through it all, I became even more and more convinced that with the right seasoning and grooming and opportunity, Jeff Saturday will become the best of any of those individuals. And if this was all some sort of elaborate setup to boost the perception of Jeff Saturday, all those other guys should be pissed off. But until they hire someone other than Jeff Saturday, I feel like that's what this all was.
I think a lot of people are going to continue to think that this is all just, a facade to basically hire Jeff Saturday. That's certainly still percolating in my brain. I wouldn't, suggest that to Mr. Irsay. That's for sure. I wouldn't. I'd go, there's a lot of good candidates there. And not to say Jeff Saturday couldn't be one day. I just don't think he's ready for prime time yet. You hire him right now, you'll be in the bottom quartile of the bottom quartile of the bottom quartile. That's what I'll tell you. That's what I think. So that's where they got to, and they'll hanging up banners. We're in the bottom quartile of the bottom quartile. So I felt like a week ago that, it seemed like steam was kind of gaining, and it seemed like it would be Eric Bieniemy maybe. It's kind of the feel I got through the grapevine of the NFL, right? I don't know how you felt about it. But I have no clue as it sits right now. And then with this many second interviews and everything there, I'm interested to see where this goes. And, yeah, that Saturday conversation still hovers over this. But, man, they've interviewed some great candidates. Bisaccia, Shane Steichen, E.J. Evero, Raheem Morris. Those are guys I would go, yeah, hire. Like, they got big-time potential. But I don't know where it's going to go and how much longer this is going to drag out.
Well, and it really will complicate things for the Colts if they hire Jeff Saturday for a couple of reasons. And one is, and I mentioned the Brian Flores litigation being 1 year old as of today. And one point that we've been trying very hard to get people to understand, because I think it's counterintuitive. Most folks think that if someone sues you, you have every right to shun them for the rest of their existence. I don't want someone here who sued me. Why would I want to employ someone who sued me? Well, because when you sue someone for racial discrimination, it is a protected activity for which there shall be no retaliation. You can't consider it. You can't hold it against them. And I mention that, Chris, because of the 13 names that were interviewed initially by the Colts before they cut it to this second wave of at least 7.
Right.
Brian Flores didn't get an interview.
Yeah.
Steve Wilks, who filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against the Cardinals, joined the Brian Flores effort, didn't get an interview. And if you hire Jeff Saturday after going 1-7, proving everyone right who said, why is this guy the interim head coach? You're asking for a ticket to the dance. You're asking for a seat at the defense table, because we've already seen Steve Wilks' lawyer come out and say, basically to the Panthers, yeah, if you're going to be part of this now too, for not hiring Steve Wilks to be your coach, because the argument will be there's some level of retaliation against Wilks for standing up to Big Shield. Flores and Wilks could make, I think, a pretty persuasive argument for being excluded 13 interviews. How do you not interview Flores when you're interviewing all these other folks? How do you not at least do some work on Wilks when you're interviewing all these other folks? The more you interview, the more glaring it is that the guys who have pending lawsuit against your business partners, that makes it even more noteworthy. And if you hire the guy who's unqualified, that makes it even harder to talk your way out of it, Chris.
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, you know, forget Wilkes or Flores. I mean, just, geez, yeah. If you hire Jeff Saturday over guys like E.J. Evero or Raheem Morris, that doesn't have a good look, period. It doesn't. I mean, those are two, like, awesome defensive minds. Raheem Morris has been doing it for quite some time now. That just doesn't look right in itself. So that is a major factor in this whole situation. And, you know, and the Cardinals one's another one where, again, maybe last week I thought, well, it just kind of seems like it's going to go Brian Flores. I'd be shocked if it's not Brian Flores, the head coach. But as it stands now, I'm not sure there either. So I'm going to be interested to see what either one of these teams do here with these last two remaining spots and who they go with and you know, kind of start the direction of their team.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.